What's happening? Kyle Postlethwaite, aka Malker here at Big Kitty Games. Clocking in a little late today. Had a rough night. And I was reluctant to be streaming last week. I've been working on colors and post-processing and vegetation and sort of landscaping and this and that. I don't know, I guess I was kind of self-conscious. Things weren't as I wanted them yet. A lot better. Still stuff I'm working on. Gonna go ahead and turn the stream back on though. So, well, yeah, I'm still working on the mountains up here. But did a lot of work mostly on the grassland. So I've added anti-aliasing, motion blur. We've got a lot of color correction going on. Replaced all the trees except for lemons and oranges. Lots of new rocks. Dirt patches, kitty meows. So it's pretty different. Lots of changes. What I want to get into right now is upgrading our video settings window a bit, as we need to add some new stuff to it. And there's definitely some stuff in there that I need to peek at that hasn't been touched in a while. So let's get into it. I'm going to turn off the loading UI, and we are working with the menu settings window. Oh no, that's the settings button. Let's see, settings UI. Here we go. Now this guy's just super tiny, for one thing. Let's go ahead and scale him up to be bigger, and even that's like twice as big, 3 times as big. I don't think we need bigger than that. That's probably good. Zoom in a little bit. One thing, let's see. Volume, not a big deal. It's mostly the video group that I want to mess with. A lot of this stuff actually gets generated at runtime. And I would like to expand that system a bit further so that we can, you see, the beauty of that is anytime I need to add any new buttons, which does happen, as is going to happen today, I've set up these methods here to add switch, add float input, etc., add toggle. And these will just spawn a new row and set it all up so that it works the way that I want it to. So I want to expand on that because I think there's some buttons that I want to spawn today that I don't currently support. And I want to expand all of this so that it's nice and big. I like to get even numbers. Let's see. I probably want to move most of this. Let's see, some of this stuff's left over from previous builds. I think I want to move all of this over a bit though, and expand the titles to the left. This might actually be good centered. I don't need to really expand these areas so much. How come this guy's all different than these ones? And there's some stuff that definitely needs some work. But let's see. How about, for now, I take everything, I'm going to put it under a single object, and I'm going to turn him on, even though I'm not using him. Well, actually, he's in a weird spot there. Let's just go ahead and delete these guys, because I don't use them anymore. Alright, so if I move all of these guys, you can't actually really see that very well, can you? If I move them all down onto a single object, then if I move this guy, they all move with him. The content window has not been scaled up. 665.30. It's probably 640. Leave some room for the scroll bar there. And 530. Yeah. We can actually go ahead and scale the scroll bar up to 530 as well. And again, just moving this stuff into the center a bit more. I think that's pretty good. Let's get a good even number though, maybe 200. And then I can just unparent these guys again. I'm going to move. Did it just reverse all of those? Why would it do that? It's not nice. Is that because I selected them from the bottom up? Is that a feature? I didn't know that. No, I selected them from the top to the bottom this time. Let's try it the other way. It's just going to reorganize those completely every time I do this. Huh? That's not nice. Please, no. Can I even get it? There's one pixel there that I want right like that. That actually did work. I just want to move it under here. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, so I want to expand all of these titles, and honestly, I could. Kind of what I'm thinking of really is that it would be nice if all of these were generated in runtime, rather than have any of them set up like this. So currently I've got add toggle, add float, add switch. Do I have add switch working? Cool. So we've got float, switch, and what's the other one? Toggle. So this is toggle, this would be a switch. This would be toggle, this would be float, and then I don't have an integer input, which would be, grass distance. Weather intensity, again, would be a switch. This is a switch. These are all switches. So I think I can do that. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's turn, this is hiding under a mask. I'm going to turn the mask off. And we don't have anything, no, distance. Okay, no, we do have everything. Yeah, we even expanded the mask, so it's all visible right now. So let's go ahead and try to plug all of this into this system here. Currently, and one of the things that'll be nice about this is that we can organize them just by moving this code around, rather than trying to click and drag all of these guys all over the place. And I'd like to add some category titles as well. And again, I added anti-aliasing and a number of new video settings that we're going to need to add into here. So let's just do them in this order first, after we get some coffee. Delicious. So, volumetric clouds, that is going to be a toggle. And it wants the scroll rect, which is going to be the video settings scroll rect. Let's go ahead and copy this guy. That's fair. And then there's actually stuff above here, so let's move it up here. This is going to be volumetric clouds, and we're going to need to make a button for that. Volumetric left, volumetric right, we've got those. Button types, anisotropic. Yeah, this is just the toggle, so we don't need a left and a right. Volumetric left, volumetric right. Somebody actually using that? Nobody is not using that. We used to use it. Now we are just churning them on and off. Cloud left, cloud right is different. Just going to double check by looking for references. We can find there are none. So, one thing that is dangerous here is I don't have numbers on these. For example, this equals 0, this equals 1. What that means is if there are any serialized references. Hey Art, what's happening? If there are any serialized references, which I don't have here, I'm setting them all up in a runtime, so it's fine. But if there were, these would all get shifted. If I, for example, change this now to be just volumetric clouds, and I got rid of the other one here, that would delete 11 or 12 or wherever it was. So then this would turn into 12, even though it used to be 13. And in the inspector, any of these things that if they were actually saving them down here, like this script does, after I feed it to them in runtime, it's actually saving the number. It's not actually saving the text. So if I changed it from 13 to 12, oh, it is 13 here, yeah. So if this shifted down to 12, this guy would be saving 12, and all of these buttons would get jumbled up. That's a bad problem that you can definitely run into. I'm aware of it. And I very often add numbers to my enumerations because of that. But I'm actually doing this all in runtime here, so I don't need them there. If you leave them alone, they will just name themselves in order. So if you specifically specify them, you can actually just do this as, whatever. And that way if you add something in the middle, it won't change all of the other ones. Excuse me, it's allergy season here. But I'm not actually using these in the inspector. That's what causes the problems. So I can go ahead and change these around freely. Here, there are other ones. For example, the item database enumeration. If I changed that, and those didn't have those numbers, someone's sword might turn into a cup of tea, or whatever. So you do have to watch out for that. So it's going to be volumetric clouds, and we're going to be using the toggle. This is the action, right? Here. So I want to do this. Change volumetric clouds. And that should spawn this whole row here by itself. So I can delete this one. Might actually just give it a quick try. Take a peek at it, make sure we're not doing something stupid. That is going to be making use of, I believe it's under Resources, UI, and you can't see me scrolling through this stuff, but let's see, Settings. Nope, what are they called? Let me take a peek here. Button group volume, blah, 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 blah. Toggle instantiate settings row toggle. Oh, I have these as public. So that means that I can click on them. In the settings UI, here they are. Oh, okay, that's nice. I don't actually have them in resources. They're here in the scene. So this is what's going to be spawning these. Yeah, I saw you say that, Art. I'd be down to look at those. You were talking about spider nest. I'm pretty picky with that stuff, but there's definitely some cool stuff up there. So we're going to be spawning the toggle here. I'm going to have to save this to... Well, I can just click and drag one on here, I guess. Like so. He's not using the toggle graphic there. So let's change that. And he needs to be positioned better. So he's now going to be 630, but he can stay at 25. The title looks quite different than these other ones. Let's move him up underneath this guy. So this guy is like this. He's at 400. The width is at 12,000. Oh, yeah, okay, no, these are scaled up crazy. Okay, so appears at 4,000, so I want him to be, or 400, so I want him to be 4,000. And that should put him, yeah, right along the edge there. And the reason for this is he's being scaled down 10x. That makes the text a lot sharper. These don't look like they're... Okay, no, and he's going to align to the right. What am I missing here? Title 35. This guy's at position 200. And he's currently 400 big. That's not what we want. We want him to be at more like 20. Going all the way to 1,000. That's better. So this guy, we want to be at 200. No, I guess that's... Doesn't take into account the scale, huh? The width, however, is going to be width is 1,000. Oh no, this one's down at 0.3 as well. Okay, I'm just confusing myself here. Let's put him at 0.3 as well. I don't like that, to be honest. That's a funky number. I like 10x better. So basically we want him at what? Something like right here. 3,000. Yeah, okay. Anyway. So these guys are 35 times... Yeah, I don't want to do math right now. This is fine. Looks good. The toggle, however, we want to move... it's anchored properly. We just want to move it over here. Yeah, I think that is... Is that a little close? Might be a little close. We got a little more room now. Let's move it out just a little bit. How about 350? I don't have a tip up here. Somebody sent me a tip. Yay! Thank you, Mystic Micah, for the donation. It was while we were offline, unfortunately. I'll look at that after lunch, so I'll get a little recent tip thing showing up there. Big thanks for that. So, I want to change these graphics, is what I need to do here. Background for this is button tiny. So the background for this guy needs to be button tiny. And then the check mark is button OK. Like this. And let's see, number 1, starting at -10, so this guy would technically be placed at -10 as well, like that. And we should expect this to be no more. Along with the title. So it would look like this. And then the rest of these should follow suit along those lines. So let's apply those overrides. So this prefab will save all of these changes that we just made. And now we can, well, let's, alright, let's keep programming for now. Cloud quality. So, we want to add a switch here. This is the same video settings scroll rect, same ref count there. This is going to be cloud quality. Button types, cloud left, I think, is the one we pass in. And we pass left and right in here. Okay. So cloud quality. No, what is it? How about left? Cloud left. There we go. And this is going to be cloud right and cloud right. Now, if game settings cloud z is equal to 0, and yeah, for the switches we just use the left. And I don't remember. Let's go look at, can I go straight to that? I can. Cloud left, cloud right. Where is the text? That's under update toggles, something or other here. These guys. So, We want all of that right here. Game settings clouds equals 1. And we're not doing direct reference anymore. We're doing a stored reference from runtime, like this, to say switches for cloud left, text is now low quality. And we just want to repeat that for low, medium, high, very high, and ultra. Like so, and we're not using these guys. And that should work for the clouds. Beneath that, we've got lightning flashes. I do want to add little comments here so I can organize these nice later. Let's do volumetric clouds. Lightning flashes. This is going to be a toggle. And we should actually put a little warning. When the game first starts up, let's go look at that real quick. Why not get totally sidetracked? When the Start UI opens, if this is the first time that somebody has loaded the game, setting exists equals true. If it is not true, we're going to load a warning and say anonymous error reporting. By default, should an error occur, the game of your operating system, the names of your operating system, your CPU, and your GPU will be sent to the developer along with the error for debugging purposes. No personal information is included in error reports. If you wish to opt out of anonymous error reporting, please turn it off in the settings. I believe it will fit just fine, but I'm not sure. Load a warning. What I want to do basically is I want to add a space and a space, and then I want to say storms in Solace Crafting can produce lightning flashes if, how do you say that? You know, for people with seizures that aren't supposed to see flashes. That's why I added that in. Somebody asked me for that. Storms in Solace Crafting can produce lightning flashes if you have ever experienced health problems related to flashing lights. Please disable lightning flashes in the in-game settings. And I'm going to load this up manually once. And I'm just going to put a debug.log error. Make sure you turn this off so I don't forget about it. But I want to peek at that and make sure that all that text actually fits in there. Right. If you've ever experienced health problems related to flashing lights, please disable lightning flashes in the in-game settings. That should be understandable. Anyway, so this is all the same. This is lightning flashes. And we should have a, no, what's the button called? I don't have a button for it. Not a problem. Can add one. Let's put it over here. Lightning flashes. Flashes. And like so. And we will, this is also called lightning, change lightning. And that should work for that. And we want vsync. Vertical synchronization. Don't have a button for that either. Vsync. I'm pretty sure I do have a no? Where is that at? Video, let's see. Some of these are so hard coded in. Change vsync. How come IntelliSense didn't spot that? Change vsync. There we go. That should work for that. And gamma level. Alright, so gamma level is currently, we're going to have to peek at what its current settings are. So this is a float input. Actually, let's take a look at this. I'm going to have to let it recompile once quick. Good time to get a sip of coffee in. With my big kitty mug. These are really sturdy mugs too. It's not the, you know how they like print stuff on there with that film sometimes, and then that stuff just wears off after a couple years of going through the dishwasher. This is actually printed. I don't actually really even know how they do it. Like, did they print acrylic on before they baked it? Because that's what it looks like. I mean, there's no visible lines. I used to work in manufacturing. And this looks like it's fired ink. So I'm not honestly sure how that works. I'm sure modern technology is capable of printing acrylics directly onto unfired ceramics, but that's what it looks like. This is a really sturdy big cup. Holds like 2 whole cups of coffee. Much bigger than my little Japanese cups I've got. So clouds, vsync, and lightnings should be working fine. I'm going to get rid of those. Let's take a peek though at our, don't need you anymore, at the moment anyway. Settings row float. I don't think this guy actually has a slider. He doesn't. So this is just a direct input. Yeah, you can just private message me something, Art, if you want to save that to the desktop, but give me a text file or something. Discord lets you send files up to 3 megabytes or something like that. So first thing first, -10 is where we would start, but we're actually going to go down to -30, I believe. Nope. What's the step that we're taking here? Video settings row count goes down by a factor of, isn't it used in these methods? Position row count -30. This guy looks like he's about ready to overlap. Alright, it should be -30 plus the -10. So this guy should be at -40, right? There we go. That looks better. So again, he himself we want there at 0. But this guy we now want to be over here, anchored to the left at 0. But not actually 0. Let's do 20. 3,250. 20, 0, 3,250. There we go. Now, the input field, do we want this on the right or the left? Because I want to add a slider in here. Let's put them here. Well, first of all, I want to expand the size of these. This one is 630, 25, so this one needs to be 630 as well. Right. So again, 350 start for this guy, and I'm going to add, let's actually copy one of those sliders. Fill area. Well, that's the whole slider itself there. Okay. Duplicate you, sir. Bring you into here. Underneath there, we're just gonna call you Slider. Sounds like a superhero name. Slider. I think for the like, Von White. Need to reposition him. And let's say he's at about 450 minus 0. And let's turn this up to 150 and 25. Now we need to tie these two together. That's going to be a little bit of code. So let's see. Settings row float. Float input or the slider. Okay, so let's apply those changes first of all. Now let's go down to, here we are, float input. Here it's going to grab the input field and set that up. I also want it to now be grabbing a slider. Called slider. And I want to set the slider dot min value equals min and slider dot max value equals max. And we also need to set it up so that just slider on value changed. I think this is it here. Dot add listener delegate. So we're actually passing in our action to this construction method here. And let's see, so for example now, we're talking about, what are we working on? Gamma. Video, volumetric crowdsourcing, vsync, fog, where's gamma? On gamma change. So now we're going to want this to all mimic this stuff here. Well, I've done this in the past, so let's take a peek. Float input for UI scale, for example. Update scale. And where was gamma? On gamma change. So this is the old way of doing it. This is the new way of doing it. If input fields gamma, don't actually need left or right anymore. It's just gamma. ends with a period. Why doesn't it like that? Oh yeah, I don't need two of those. If it ends with a period or it ends with a 0, return. Is that correct? That doesn't sound right. If it equals 0, or it ends with a period, we don't want to do anything because that we assume the user is still typing something in that case. Otherwise, we're going to try to get the... Yeah, I think we're going to need a separate method for the slider. So in short, currently this guy is doing the slider, so this is going to be void on gamma text change kind of like thing, I'm thinking here. Whereas this guy is going to stay the way he is. We'll change him a little bit, but let's see. So this is going to be sliders, isn't it? No, okay, so we don't have a sliders yet. So basically anything that I spawn in runtime, I'm adding to this dictionary here. Toggles, input fields, switches. We're also going to want one now that is sliders. We'll call it sliders. And we're going to want to be grabbing that now. So if sliders of the type button type gamma has a value, so this is on gamma slider change basically, and this will be text change. So if the slider changes, we want to grab it, and we want to set the game settings setting to match what we find. I do have a reference to the color grading, and we want to update the text. That is fair. We want to be using this slider though now. Yada yada yada. And then we want to update the input field text to equal what our new number is. So that's actually what our gamma text is. We're not going to be using this anymore. So we're using a modified number here, huh? Slider times 100 divided by 100. I'm rounding it to an integer, which is fine. Don't really need to though. Just use what it has, because I can set it up to be an integer. Value to string, and again that's what we're doing here, so this just needs to be like this. Oops. Not using you anymore. Yeah. So this will change the text in the event that we've changed the slider. Now in the event that we've changed the slider, or the text, we want to update the slider. So we're grabbing the gamma, I want to clamp it between I better take a quick look at this. Make sure I'm not getting this wrong. I suppose I could look at it right here, huh? Gamma level 0.5 probably goes down to 0, goes up to 1, right? Min value 0, max value 1, doesn't use whole numbers. Okay, that's all I wanted to check. So our clamp is 0 to 1, right? And this is doing that fine. Right, blah blah blah. Anyway. So we're not doing canvas scalar. I don't want to call this scale anymore. This is gamma. Got a little sidetracked forgetting that this is not gamma that this method was built for initially. So now we're going to change the, well, this time we're grabbing the text. We're going to try and parse it into a float. We're going to clamp it 0 to 1, then we're going to reset it to mimic whatever number we come up with. We're going to set the, basically like this. This is a direct reference to the post-processing color grading. We just want to give that, it's actually a range of minus 0.5 to positive 0.5, so we offset it by 0.5 here. And then we also need to change the sliders in this event. So if you're changing the text, the sliders needs to get updated. Button types dot gamma dot value equals the value that we've come up with, right? That should be good. So what we're actually doing now is none of this, and we'll get rid of you later. I'm actually needing to pass now. This is our gamma float, right? Did I get out of order here? I thought that I was doing this in order. Volumetric clouds, texture quality. That's not texture quality. How did I get that? This is cloud quality. Lightning flashes, VSync, and then this is gamma. So this is our first add float, and this is now updated. So we want to be doing video settings scroll rect with a reference to the video settings row count. Currently it's looking for the button, let's see, string title, gamma. The action, now we need 2 of these. So action, this is going to be a text function, I guess. And we're going to want another one, action slider function. So the input field is going to be using the text function, and the slider is going to be using the slider function. Like so, since they have different logic. So here we've got our change gamma, what is it? Gamma text on gamma slider change, and the minimum for this is going to be 0 to 1. Go ahead and make those floats, and that should work for that. That also means we're going to have some problems with right? We're not using you anymore. Just turn you off. And actually, I'm gonna go through all of this here in a minute, but we just turned all of that off. Makes it easier to find and cancel all of this stuff out. This guy is oh, we still need a reference to the lightning light, huh? Did I just turn that off? Lightning light. Here we go. If EnviroSky instance does not equal null, that sounds a little dangerous. Let's go ahead and double check that that is happening. Lightning, where are you at? Yeah, we haven't updated these yet, have we? I want to double check. Let's see if lightning light does not, if it does equal null, we want to do that, and yeah, it should be good. Just double check, make sure, and this will throw an error. If somebody tries to turn that off and that breaks, we'll double check it after we're done here. And again, this is toggles lightning flashes if it's on, otherwise we know that it's off. Likewise, this is vsync, and this is volumetric clouds. And what else is erroring at the moment? 0.5f. What is this? Float input. Well, we'll get to you in a minute, sir. The rest of these are underneath us. Nope. What is this here? We're not using you anymore. Just gonna turn you off for the moment. We might want to be setting this like so. I think we do. Yeah, we probably want to be setting all of these. As soon as we set them up. Or can I like get that retroactively when I'm setting them up? Let's see. Oh, I do have a switch in here. Okay. So we need more of these. Let's see. We did case, volumetric clouds, t.ison equals game settings dot volumetric clouds break. What else did we do? Cloud quality, that's a switch. We're looking at toggles right now. Lightning flashes, vsync. Would be nice if I could pass this in along with this guy here and not have to do this check. So let's go ahead and add onto this. Let's say game settings. I believe there's an, there we go, settings, setting. Now, basically, I'm gonna want to do is on equals game settings dot get current setting for the setting that we've passed in. That's a float, huh? Get current setting. In the event that it's on, we're going to return a 1. In the event that it's off, we're going to return a 0. Is how this is set up. I don't actually have the video stuff plugged into this yet, but that would be useful. So I'm going to do it this way. T is on get current setting, and then if that is a if it equals 1, we're going to go ahead and go to true. Otherwise, it's going to be false. This is a shorthand if statement. So this is our condition. The question mark indicates that we're doing a shorthand if, and this is our true. Condition is not the word I'm looking for, I don't think. End result, you know. Oh, sorry, I'm missing a comment here. Sturm Seal. What's happening? Thanks so much. Thanks for stopping by. I know it's maybe your East Coast. It's getting late some parts of the world. Still prior to lunch here for me. So this is going to overwrite all of this stuff. I'm just going to comment it out for a minute. And basically I can pass in that, it'll try and grab that and set it up automatically for us. So this is going to be volumetric clouds. Okay, see, but I don't have those. I think it's just clouds. No, I don't have everything set up for these, unfortunately. World combat, crafting, harvesting. These are all the settings that you can do. Germany. Oh, right on. That's well before the East Coast's day starts. So yeah. 3 a.m., huh? 8 hours away from here. I wonder, that's got to be a long flight. I would love to visit Germany someday. Closer than the rest of Europe, I suppose, to Japan. But that's got to be a long flight. I have family in New Zealand I'd like to visit too. And you'd think that, because it's like, laterally it's the same as Japan, pretty much, but it's like a 12-hour flight to get to the other side of the planet. It's a bummer. Anyway. So I think I'm going to be wanting to add these in here. I don't need all of them, but let's copy this down there for now. Combat video. Here we go. So I want to get rid of not lightning. What are you doing? I want to these. Why is it not selection? Current document. I don't want lightning. I want you to find what I've selected. Thank you. And I want you to delete it. That. And I want to delete these as well. And I want to delete these as well. And we've got a couple more here. Weather collision. Those are different. Anyway. So we did lightning, VSync. Did I add one too many? No. Lightning vsync, resource distance, fog, volumetric clouds. We are going to want all of this. I'm not really sure what this is. I'm just going to leave that there anyway. 69, 70. Don't want these either. I want these to be commas. And 71, 72, 73, 74. That guy was almost 75. And as per usual, I know this isn't the most interesting thing. Not sure why I always choose to do these code-intensive streams. But, long story short, now I can do, let's see, clouds. That's not what we want, is it? I think it's volumetric clouds. There we go. Volumetric clouds. And, no, game settings is pinned. The other thing now that we need is to add these to our get set methods. Don't actually need it to be in those guys. We do want get current to work though. So I'm gonna have to add all of these. And we're going to want to do a return quick way to do this, not really. Return settings dot lightning, kinda, I think let's just copy and paste these over. Please don't auto format every one of them. I think I just hit Control X. Nope, looks fine. Delete the S there. Sometimes you just kind of got to get into the groove of this. You can code, Notepad++ to do this kind of stuff for you automatically, but ultimately, when you're only dealing with a couple dozen lines like this, it's faster to just go through and do it. Thank you very much, Sturm. The cats, they're a little bit off camera there. All piled on top of one another. It's starting to warm up out here, but they still like to pile. Let's see, Japan to Germany flight time. 12 hours, yep. Woo! Non-stop 12-hour flight. It's actually not that expensive though. It costs that much. It costs more than that. Well, actually flight prices might be dead in the water right now, probably, aren't they? Nobody wants to fly. I wonder. I fly Japan to Seattle whenever I can. And it's more like 9 hours. That's an overestimate. Prices are still ridiculous. you can pay less if you fly to China first, and then you go to Korea, and then you go to America, and all this weird stuff. I never understand that. Tokyo to Seattle. There's usually a direct flight. I like to fly Delta. But man, wow, that's actually like way, way expensive right now. What's up with that? Well, this is for like later, let's say. Yeah, you still can't. Wow, prices are up there. Let's go for something like this. That's cool. You can shop like that anyway. Separate tickets booked together. What is this here? American, Alaska? Yeah, they're cheaper, but they're... It's weird. Look, what, I have to go to Denver? Look at this. I don't ever understand this stuff. Ninoy Aquino. I don't know where that is. Is that the Philippines? Yeah. Philippines. So I go to the Philippines first for 4 hours. Then I fly to Los Angeles for 12 hours. Then I fly to Denver for 2 hours. And then I fly to Seattle for 3 hours. That's cheaper than just flying to Seattle. How does that work? Why is this not insanity? This weirds me out. And I'm never going to do that. I mean, you just... what is this like? What's the total flight time there for that? Does it say? Probably like 19 hours or something. I mean, look at this. There you go. 39 hour spent to get through a 9-hour flight. You just kill yourself. I mean, your body does not appreciate that. That was some expensive tickets, though. I don't think I've ever paid $1,500 for a flight to see my parents. Yeesh. Clouds, shadow quality, whoops, shadow quality, shadow distance, shadow resolution, shadow cascades, crosshair transparency, HDR, weather intensity, target frame rate, texture resolution, and then I just want to add a semicolon, break semicolon to the end of all of these. Huh? No, that's not right, is it? Don't need these. And I want to skip every one other one, so... Oops. Lost my rhythm somewhere. Didn't have one there for some reason. Settings, dot, skip, delete, skip, delete. Okay. Nope, I'm stupid. We don't want those breaks. These are returns. That would be unreachable code. I want to be done with this. Somebody save me. Why are we still arguing? You've already got lighting somewhere, huh? World, what? 69? What are you talking about? Harvesting. Yeah, they're getting better at teleporting. Hopefully we get that working someday. Because that would be the way to go. Yeah. You have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. What is going on here? I'm missing something obvious. Switch statement contains multiple cases with the label value 69. You sure about that? 69 is lighting. Was there a 69 down? Oh, there is a bunch of 69s down here. Whoops. Could have told me that. 76 would be our top, I guess. That's a bummer. 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82. This stuff is not fun, but once everything gets working, it's all much more manageable, much more scalable, which is really what you want to strive for, because there's always more to be done. Always something that wants to get added on. That fixed that. Now these are named a little bit different. Lightning. Did I just spell it wrong, or what's going on there? Return lightning. No, this is probably a bool, isn't it? Okay, so return lightning equal, I don't even need that. I think it's a statement in and of itself, 1 or 0. Likewise for you. Basically a bool is considered a true condition if it's true. So I can just have it there itself and say if it's true, send a 1, otherwise send a 0. And that's what these guys all are going to be as well. HDR I don't believe is actually used, but we'll plug it in there. And that should be that. Let's auto format a little bit there. Okay. So now we should be able to be getting this, and it's going to set the value to be that. If it equals 1, we're going to go true. Otherwise we're going to go false, because in the event of a toggle we're only going to be getting a bool. So I can go ahead and get rid of this now. That should all work properly. Now, moving along, add toggle. We didn't finish these yet. Game settings, it had it there for me. Game settings dot lightning vsync. So we don't need you anymore. Alright, we're back on track. What else do we got? Gamma, grass density, grass distance. These are also float inputs, so grass density. That's not enough. Who uses grass left? Nobody? Add toggle. No, that's not what I'm looking at. It's this guy, right? Nobody's using grass left just yet, so really, what are they using? I'm setting them up explicitly, so we're not actually making use of these. Let's do grass density left. Grass density right, and we're going to want distance as well. the one above him only has float input gamma. Yeah, this isn't a left-right situation, is it? So I got that wrong. We only actually need like that. So this is grass density. On grass density change. And now we need to change these to have, this is going to be text. On grass density text change. And on grass density slider change. So now let's see if we can turn these into a machine, because I don't want to just copy and paste tons of voids for these. So let's say, for example, we've got a void known as slider change. Now, if I pass in some settings to this guy, for example, game settings dot setting. We also want to have a button type. Called button type. And I think that is all we need. So in this event, what we're going to be able to do is do game settings dot change setting. And we're also going to want to pass in the value. Like this. That's going to make... We had some special logic going there for... our gamma slider there. Let's do float offset equals 0 value plus offset. Can we do this actually or not? So we do need to grab that color grading dealie specifically. But I think this will still save us. For example, this isn't going to go here. For this, we're just going to be calling slider change game settings dot gamma button types dot gamma. And this is going to be minus 0.5 f. And this is going to be, these are all going to be generic button types. That will simplify this down to just this. We're going to want a text change as well. Let's call this float change instead. And again, we're going to want these inputs. Going to want to change all of these to be our button type. I'm going to get rid of that S. because I'm OCD like that. Let's see, so now that's generic input fields. Let's change this to value equals 1. Try to find that text, get the value, clamp it. Float change. I'm gonna want to do. Let's do float min, float max. This is gonna now be game settings dot change setting, and we're gonna want to be doing a comma, set it to our value plus our offset if we have one, like so. This we're gonna keep above there, slider value, that all looks generic and good. So with our gamma dude, all that we need to keep is the color grading, and we need to go to float change, game settings dot gamma, button types gamma, minimum of 0, maximum of 1, float offset equals -0.5 f. And we've reduced that down to 2 lines each. Let's see, slider change, float change. I want to move these down to the bottom. Update weather collisions, blah blah blah. Let's put them down here. Trying to make this generic and malleable on gamma slider change, on gamma text change. And who is yelling at us? On grass density change. Not messing with you yet. This all looks fine so far. Okay, so gamma is working as expected, right? So good and well. We're moving on to grass density. So, similar to gamma, grass density on gamma text change. So we want on grass density text changed. And here we want slider change. Now our grass density has a different clamp. I don't remember what it is. I think it's 0 to 2. Gonna have to recompile and it's gonna break and yell at me. Let's take a peek. Grass density. Zero to 2. Okay. So 0 to 2. Alright. And were we done with that? I don't think we were. So now we want the slider change. We've got slider first. Let's move him up. Actually, floats. Let's change this to float. On gamma float change. And let's move him above because the float is left of the slider. And again, I have OCD like that. Not you, sir, but you. On grass density float change. Go. And we're going to be copying this. Now that we've got our generic stuff set up, this is grass density. Button types, grass density. And he is 0 to 2, and he does not have any offset. So we can just get rid of that. Now that's going to set the game settings, etc. for us just fine. And we want to you're going to round it to an integer. That's fine. We'll look at that here in a minute, see if that's necessary. So we've simplified it down to just needing to handle the special cases on its own. Everything else is going to be handled automatically. Here we've got slider change, grass density, and what does this guy want? He wants, yeah, no offset. Okay, so that should be easier for building these from here on. I would like to kind of like reorganize these, like I was saying. Fog, volumetric. I'm not going to use you guys anymore. Let's get rid of you. Crosshair transparency. Toggle shadows. We don't use anymore. That's a switch. Toggle fog. Change tessellation. We don't use tessellation. So here's our video start. I don't really need to organize that. I'm going to be moving this stuff around anyway. Let's see. So grass density, we're now not using you anymore. Let's go ahead and turn you off up here as well. Grass density and grass distance I'm now going to not be using anymore, but just give me a second here. Alright, grass density should be working. Grass distance, no. So this is going to be float, and we're, grass distance float, and we're also going to want grass distance slider, and it's just going to be this. Distance, grass distance, and this one is I think he's 0 to 300. Yep. Like so. So don't need you, we do need you, we don't need you. And slider change. Grass distance. Grass distance. That's all that we need. Right, I believe. I'm not 100% confident because we haven't tested anything yet. On grass distance, float change. Did I not change that to... I guess I didn't. Like that, thank you. On grass distance float, on grass distance slider change. And again, he is 0 to 300. Moving along. Weather intensity. Now this is a switch. Who else is a switch? Here we go. So something like this. Head switch, weather intensity. These look like they're already all set up. All that we need is the text. Oh, no, it's just a slider, actually. Minus equals 0.1. If it's less than 0, we put it to 0. If it's greater than 1, we go to 1. So it's 0 to 1 slider, basically. It's not a switch. My apologies. So that's a float input, which is our slider dealie. So we don't need, let's see here, weather intensity. We actually only need one of these. This is now going to be on weather intensity float change. And again, we're going to do this. Slider change, weather intensity. It had it there for me. I think that, here we go. We want this stuff to be doing that, and I'm going to be making some changes to that today or tomorrow, but not quite yet. I'm currently working on, not currently, but one of the things I'm doing right now, I've updated the biome recognition system. So we added a while ago how down in the bottom left it shows the biome that you're in. I expanded that system so that now it actually calculates the percentage of all the different biomes you're in. So like even if you're in the grasslands, technically there's usually a little bit of mountain in there or a little bit of ocean or swamp or whatever, depending on what you're moving towards. Sometimes it's 100%, but not always. So it calculates those percentages and it actually uses that data to manage the lighting, and it's already doing that. So it kind of increases the temperature, the contrast, some of these things based on what biome you're in to make it look better. And it blends between those as you move around. And I'm going to expand that today or tomorrow to work with the weather system as well. Up until now we've used weather presets that you've probably, if you've seen me streaming before, we're using Viro for our sky and weather, which is very common. Really good asset, and we have these presets which you can't actually see here. Let me open it up over here. And I think this guy's locked. Let's unlock him and click on one of these. So here we've got our current weather presets are clear sky, some cloudies, some rain, some fogs, this and that. I'm going to get rid of all of these and actually just make use of one, and then instead be altering these settings. So like fog, clouds, colors, and things like that based on the biome data. So when you go into the desert, it'll stop raining. If you go into the swamp, it'll probably start raining. Not 100%. It'll still be chance-based, but to have biome-based weather. And more importantly, biome-based coloring. So the sky and the fog, there should be more fog, and it should be more humid and thicker in the swamp than in the desert. Sort of the horizon should be a different color in the desert than in the mountains, and some of these things like that. So I'm working on plugging that in So, why did I bring that up right now? I forget. But there you go. That's what one of the things I'm working on. So I need to have these settings set up properly so that people can churn things on and off. I forget why I brought that up right then. I had something to connect that to, but whatever. Float change, grass distance, grass distance. This is actually weather intensity we're looking at now. So, weather intensity. And you are a 0 to 1, right? Yeah. 0 to 1. This is our float. This is going to be on weather intensity slider change, which you can be. Don't use you anymore. And right. So currently this is, that's why I brought it up. When we make a change to the weather intensity, we have to tell Enviro to reset whatever the current weather is, to make sure that it recognizes the changes that we've made. We won't need to be doing that anymore in the near future, but I'll have to come back and fix this because it's not quite set up yet. So anyway, weather intensity float slider change looks good. So I'm not going to be using you anymore either. Let's go find you. Weather intensity. No gracias. You're all going to be deleted. What else we got? Weather collision quality. Just a few more left here. Weather collision. I also want to get in here to the help menu. Expand that. Add some more stuff to that as well. And a link to the wiki, which some of our Discord members have been diligently working on. It's gotten a lot better. So definitely want to add an in-game link to that for people that have questions. They can probably just find them on there now for the most part. This is also, well, is this a switch? Weather collision quality. This is a switch. So, I think there's only 3 or 4. Let's see though. Weather collision, button types. Don't, weather collision left. And then let's take a peek at these. We've got a coroutine running for these guys. Is that because these are respawned in runtime? I don't think it does that anymore. I remember doing that in the past though. Let's take a peek at that if we can, because I'm going to need to know that to fix this properly. Add toggle is now incomplete because we're not passing in this for fog. That's fine, I can fix that. This is going to be fog. Let's see, add float input for UI scale. Something's missing here. What do we need? Text function, okay. Let's update these real quick. on scale float change. We're going to want to do any of those to grab right here, not quite yet. Let's do float change like so. For the UI scale, no offset. 0 wouldn't be good. Is that in here? It's not. What's he clamped at? 0.5 to 2. Now we don't need any of you anymore. We just need this stuff. UI scale is going to get set to scale with that. So these are our numbers. Right. That should be all we need. And this one is going to be on scale slider change. So this is slider change. Like so. Just gonna try and get rid of these problems real quick. Weather intensity float input on weather intensity float change on weather intensity slider change 0 to 300, because I want to check on this. Right, I want to check on those enviro visual effects objects. Add float input, update scale. So this is now going to be on scale float change, on scale slider change. 0.5 to 2. Who else is erroring? You, sir, are not yet set up. I'm just gonna... Oh, you need... That's all you need, huh? Anisotropic. That's fine. Toggle. Float input. Crosshair transparency. I'm just gonna turn you guys off real quick. Actually, before I do that, let's turn you guys on and turn this stuff off, because we're not going to be using you anymore. Button click. We don't use these anymore either. Okay, then I'm just going to temporarily turn these off so that I can properly compile the changes and run the game once. We can take a peek at some of these things. It's going to mess this up, but that's fine. I don't need to look at this yet. I just want to double check those enviro objects spawning in runtime. Let's go ahead and delete gamma through weather intensity. Still working on collision. And these were only left in there as tests, and I did apply their overrides, so we can delete them. And we're going to want to churn the video group off, the audio group on, the settings UI off, zoom back out, and turn the loading UI back on. Save, back out. I think actually what I wanted to do was try to store a reference to those guys. So weather collision, no, weather intensity. Nope. Here we go with these guys. Where was it? This guy, update weather collision. So I'm trying to find visual effects, get all the components in there. So basically what I want is a list of particle systems, right? So let's make a serialized list of particle systems. Yeah. Weather particles, list particle system, particle system. I want to make this a serialized field. Recompile that once. Didn't actually make any changes to this one. This is just the prefab we have open and are working with. We actually want to go to the scene instance of... Oh, thank you, John. I do definitely want to improve that, because yeah, the fog can make a very big difference on the atmosphere, you know. And currently it's just kind of got this global usage, so I want to fine-tune that to match better with the biomes per dungeon type, kind of things like that, so that it's a lot more fitting for each of the different scenarios that it can be. So I want to go to the actual scene instance of the main UI here in our main level. I'm at a very funky angle here. There we go. And what am I doing here? I do have no, I don't. Okay, good. No overrides. I want to actually plug in to the settings UI, which is part of the overlay. Here we go. Weather particles currently 0. I'm going to lock the inspector so it doesn't move away when I click on other things. Going to expand enviro effects. Here we go. Oh, and they are not in there. Okay, so yeah. These are spawned in runtime. Well, that's fair though. That's what I came to look at. So let's go back to start. Don't save. Oh, you're up early, Turbo. We just had another guy from Germany say good night. Oh, did my camera break? What's going on with my camera? Oh, my camera's broken. Did I kick it? Did a cat step on it? Looks like it lost power somehow. One second, please. Check my cable here. Yeah, a reboot would probably fix it. Let me see if I can't turn it on and off. Oh, thanks, Microsoft. That's a lot of options there you're giving me. Remove device, that's definitely what I want to do. Well, I might have to turn the cat cam on me. It is 5 minutes to lunch. I'm 99.999% sure that troubleshoot isn't going to do anything, but we can go, oh, couldn't identify the problem. Yeah, it's, wouldn't have guessed. That's weird. Let me just try and unplug it, plug it into a different spot maybe or something. Well, there it showed up on the list. And I've got my who knows? Still doesn't have its red light on, but it's working now. It's weird. Who knows? So, anyway. Serialized field is not what we're going to be working with there. Actually, we are going to have to, the reason this is here is because it spawns in runtime. It only takes, it's like the second frame that it shows up, so there's no way someone is going to be able to get to the settings menu and start messing with the settings before it ever finds this stuff. But we definitely do want this to be called. I think what I want to do though is, for example, let's say I want to move this up here. Actually, you know what? Let's give it its own void, since that's a bit of code there. Void update. Did we call it that? We did. Update weather collisions, and I'm going to rename this one to be we'll call this grab weather particles. And we're actually going to want to do to list. No, you can't do that. How do we do that? I think you can pass it. What I'm trying to do here is do weather particles. Well, I mean, I can just change that to an array. That's fine. Particle systems array equals, we'll just set it to null for now. And then when we grab it that first time, down here, weather particles, it's just going to feed that straight into there. So I actually want to call this as soon as we start. So let's put it down at the very bottom here. And actually, yeah, we don't want to do that in batch mode. So only if we're not in batch mode, I want to do start coroutine, grab weather particles. Don't think I need parentheses there. But, yeah, no I do, okay. So, and then when we start, this is going to start this up, and it's going to wait until the effects load. Once it finds them, and it does have children, then it'll move on to grabbing them. which means that our array will be populated. And then, did I not copy that? I didn't copy that? That's a bummer. I was supposed to paste that into here. So I gotta back up and find that again. Not a huge problem. Where did all of that go? Oops, there it was. All of this. I want to copy you. Copy. We'll fast forward back to where we were. And I want to paste all of that in here. So this is going to be our update weather collisions method now. And we want to be going through our weather particles. So we only ever actually call this once now. And update weather collisions, I guess that's fine, but this is no longer a coroutine. So we're not going to be using you. We're not going to be using any of you, in fact. We're not going to be using... I'm going to leave you there, though. So we're trying to add our weather collision... I wanted to double check that. Okay, weather intensity is being explicitly set here. Probably still want that in there. Yeah, we'll leave that as is. Weather collision left, left, right, right. Okay, so this is all set up as expected, and I'm trying to think if there's a way that I can generalize this more like these guys. I'm gonna go get a cold cafe latte drink that I've got in my fridge while I think about that, which is about 2 meters away from here. What am I? Nanja kore? I don't think that I can. I mean, I could, of course, but I think it would actually end up being more work. And it'd still have to be largely hard-coded in any case. So I don't think I'm going to mess with that. I'm going to leave this as is. If we're trying to go left, we're going to go left, and then we're going to update based on what we're currently set at, which we've got this going now. The only thing that's not happening right now is the switch update. So, gonna have to clean this up here in a minute. Let's see though. Float and weather intensity. This says no, add switch. Weather collision. And this is, we're saving this as an enumeration. We've got off, low, medium, and high. Ma, dajibu. It's getting allergy season here for us. Which is not a bad thing. It's nice weather. Sun is shining. It's a lot better than the cold. Even if your eyes are a little itchy. And there's plenty of medicine for that if you need. Not quite to that point yet. So, weather collision left is what we're going to be using for these. And we're going to just set this to off, low quality. Well, let's just say low. Off, medium, and high. Now we need to just do that down with these guys. Update weather collisions is being called by both methods. So let's go ahead and just put it down here. These will change what we're trying to change. And then we'll call this. So they'll both make use of that. Looks good. Where were we? What's left? There was just terrain render distance left was all, wasn't it? Weather collision. Let's get back to our prefab. Churn loading back up. Oh. That's not what I meant to do. Spacebar apparently maximizes a window. Is that what I did there? Control spacebar, shift spacebar? I didn't know that. Shift spacebar. Alright, I was trying to do Alt Shift A to enable disable. We'll go to overlay, settings, video group. Zoom back in, and we did weather collision. Now we've got the draw distances is all that's left. These are gonna be switches, aren't they? Yeah. Let's take a peek too at our switch settings row. We didn't update this guy yet, did we? He's using our little buttons, so that's good. Just needs to be enlarged. Let's go ahead and drag one of these up so I can look at the numbers again. And I'll move him down 30. Get him out of the way. 360 and 25. No, I guess we didn't actually upgrade that guy either. Toggle size. What are you at? You're at 362. Well, that's not right. Is it? No, that's not right. You, sir, should be 640, all in all. 640, 640, and 640. So I'll give you again. And again, let's see, title should be at 0.1. It is. We're going to switch you to a left upper anchor at 0. Put you at 0, 0. And you're going to, 20, 3,250. There we go. The left button, these should all be left anchored, I believe. You're gonna now move over to here. Right? I think so. And let's put, I don't want to do that. It's fine. I think this guy can just be bigger. Let's do 380 to something like 1950. What would 2000 look like? Oops, that's 3000. 2000, it's not quite. How about 375? Trying to see if these look like they're even, and they don't. But 380 looks incorrect as well. I don't know what, 1950? Yeah, that looks normal. Whatever. I just want it to be in the middle. This is going to be centered. And the right button, I think, is fine right there. So we can apply those overrides. I didn't apply the overrides to the... did I? This is the float. What did I... was the toggle? 360, yeah, he should be 640. So we want to apply... no overrides? What are you talking about? I want to change this. That is an override. Well, let's save the main UI and go into the prefab itself. Change it. Move back out. Go into this one. Change it. This doesn't actually change anything. It's just me being picky. I don't like them not encompassing as they are supposed to. 640. Okay. That should be all good then for you guys. So we're working on draw ranges. Detail, near, and distant. Detail draw ranges, near and distant. These are going to be switches, and they're going to have ifs with them. Detail draw range. Decrease. My nose is running. Excuse me. We're currently using decrease area draw. I'm going to go ahead and change these to be area, let's say range left, area range right, and there should be these guys as well. Let's do near range left, near range right, and distant range left, distant range right, just to keep our naming conventions together. So we're not going to be using you guys. I'm not going to be using these either. Where are they at? Up here. Don't need you. Don't need you. So this is area range left. Area decrease area draw. So let's go rename all of those. Increase area draw. You are area range right. Yeah. You are area range left. You are near range right. Near range left. And I'm double tapping, or not double tapping, it's just Control R. No, it is double tap, okay. To rename, and this will actually rename all the instances. So anywhere that's using this, it'll change the name along with this change. Very useful tool. Increase far draw. So this is distant range right and distant range left. And again, I know this is just me being obsessive, but I'm going to put left first for all of these, because you got to be a little sick in the head to be a programmer. And that kind of stuff bothers me. Distant range left should go before right, because that's how everything up until now has been set up. So now we can finish writing these. Where are they? Here. Detail draw range. Area range left, area range left, area range right, area range right. Now, yeah, I do want to do these manually, don't I? Detail, is it? No? Area, meters to draw. These are not set up as enumerations, they are set up as actual numbers, because I use them raw in the engine as an integer. It's a little bit weird, but it works. And those settings would be, whoops, intervals of 128 between 128 and 896. So 128, 256, 256 plus 128. That's not one that I have off the top of my head. 384. This is going to be 512. No. Yeah. 512, and we're actually going to have more than that. I think there's two more. Plus 128 is 640. 768. And then 8, what was it? 896, there we go. And I actually didn't need to do any of that, because we're just going to go ahead and set it to be game settings dot area meters to draw dot to string is all that we need. Screw my math, and we want to make sure that these are doing that properly, which they are not. So we're going to clamp it. We're going to request a queue change there, and we're going to update the string like this in either case. And that is it. Now we just need to do 2 more of those. This is near draw range. Let's call it terrain. What did you say you were doing? Ice archer? Terrain. I've never built an archer build. I've seen some really crazy videos of archer builds, though. I don't really like how you have to click right on something to get it to cast, or you have to hold down. I bet I could change that, though, can't you? You'd probably want to set up a key so that, or change the keys so that when you click fire, it doesn't actually care if you've targeted something or not. It just always fires, huh? I think that's really the only reason I've never really built an archer. This is going to be distant terrain draw range. I think that is maybe a little easier to follow. But near, this is near left, near left, near left, and near left. And then this one is distant left. Distant right, and I just did left 4 times up here, didn't I? This is right, near right. Distant right. There we go. Near left, near left, near right, distant left, distant right, distant right. Distant left. And this is distant terrain, kilometers to draw. Very good. And I believe that these are all working as well. We just need to add the switch. Text update to them. Near left. And sorry, no, that is going to be near. And this is going to be distant left. Distant terrain, kilometers to draw. Okay. So we've replaced all of these to be now runtime generated, meaning we've got some errors still, but basically I can delete all of these now. I'm not going to be using any of them. Save, and who's got errors? Yeah, we're not using you anymore. Be gone. I need a haircut. Let's make sure that this is all working like we think it is. Loading UI, back on, save, back out. First thing first, I want to check and see that that warning that I added in actually fits in the window. And it does, it scales, but the close button is not, it's not fitting. Let's just make this warning window bigger. I think that is just a static little window somewhere here. Where is he? World settings, characters, servers. Warning, where are you? Warning, no, that's server join, panel, start UI, character creator. Start UI, load a warning. If start UI warning does not equal null, destroy it and spawn a new one. Okay, so we want to alter the prefab, which we should have a link to. Nope, looks like we are loading it. Via resources, perhaps. Resources load UI, start UI warning, which should be right here. So let's scale this guy up a little bit. How about 500 by 350? Title, text needs to be bigger. He can be right in the middle. Needs to be, he's scaled down to 0.1. Again, that, or 0.3, I prefer 0.1. Say you're at, is it like 100 now? That works. And we just need you to be a lot bigger. 5,000. About 4.8. And let's make you, what, 2,500? Looks great. Centered. Yeah. Wrap, overflow, warning, good. Are we changing the title when we do that? Title, setting it to warning. String warning. Let's give it a string title. Actually, let's change that to here. Bool confirmation equals false. String title equals this. And then let's say if title equals that, we'll go ahead and just load in the warning. Else, we will plug in whatever we tell it to, like this. And the rest of that is all the same. If there's no confirmation box, we're going to destroy it in 2.5 seconds. Otherwise, we're going to wait for someone to click close. So now I can feed a title to it called what? Let's call first startup warning. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? First startup. Let's say initial. No, I think we'll do like first. First startup disclaimer. How about? Oops. And this is the actual one. This is just our test one that we're looking at right now. I played the new, what's it called? League What was the thing about the league? Yeah, the rituals. And I had so many. I had 2 pages of unique items. It was a little silly. This is a little small. First startup disclaimer. I don't like this blocky edge really either. Being in early access, Solace Crafting uses anonymous error reporting by default. Should an error occur, the names of your operating system, your CPU, and your GPU will be sent to the developer. This is really big. I kind of want to... Yeah, I think I made that too big. Wide is not bad, but it's a little tall. Let's actually look at what a good size would be for this. But yeah, you do have to get those organization skills going in Path of Exile, definitely. Warning. I think you're down at the bottom here. Let's say you are more like... How about 180? And how about the text is a little bit bigger, and I would prefer that it, for this bit in particular, it said 1 and 2 kind of a thingy here like this. So maybe just a little bit bigger. How about 200? First startup disclaimer. 1. Being in early access, Solace Crafting uses anonymous error reporting by default. Should an error occur, the names of your operating system, your CPU, and your GPU will be sent to the developer along with the error for debugging purposes. No personal information is included in error reports. Let's look at this full size. If you wish, it still looks chunky. What's up with that? This text looks way better over here. Let's take a peek at that. If you wish to opt out of anonymous error reporting, please turn it off in the settings. 2. Storms in Solace Crafting can produce lightning flashes. If you have ever experienced health problems related to flashing lights, please disable lightning flashes in the in-game settings. Okay, what's going on with the text here? The news page looks a lot better for some reason. News text content is at 0.5. Interesting. 0.525. And he's just straight up Arial. Doesn't have any effects on him. So maybe 0.1 is too much, too strong. Let's try 0.5, 0.5, and then I'm going to want to, what? I don't know how to do that. Divide by 50, divide by 5. And was it 25? Yeah, that looks a lot smoother. For whatever reason. This guy's still kind of chunky. That looks pretty good though. I don't think I can apply that stuff here. I can't. Okay, so 500, 200, that doesn't matter. Yes it does. It was this guy. How come this guy's at 0.5? No, that's the pivot, sorry. 960, 500, 25, blah, 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 doesn't matter. 25 and 0.5 is what we're looking for. Start UI warning. Text. 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. 25, 25. And you are divided by 5. And you, sir, also should be at 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. It was 0.3. How do you get 0.3 to 0.5? I hate math. 0.5 divided by 0.3. Whoops. Is that what I want? 1.6 divided by 1.6666666. That's just not nice. That's just times divided by 1.6, and then I'm going to round it to 600. And it doesn't actually matter. To be honest, let's just change this back down to like 30. I do like to have best fit on just in case. Yeah, that's fine. Right? We're good? All is well? Yeah. Let's take a peek at it one more time. Right. No, that is not. We forgot to change the scale of this thing itself to 200, I think it was. And I want to add one more option here. Let's do, how do I do that? Text equals text, and text.text and text.alignment. What is this? It's a text anchor. So we want to pass in a text anchor, which by default is going to be middle center. Like this. That way, I can now tell this dude to actually be text anchored middle left. And I actually want to change this to incorporate the 1 and the 2. And let's take one last double check at that. Make sure it looks like we are expecting. After it compiles. My wife is at home today for work. That didn't work. So her lunch is at 1 p.m. So that's why I have... Oh, I did it to the title accidentally. Whoops. That's not what I wanted. We wanted the text. So this is actually the... Let's call it title text. And I really didn't even need that. But, you know, whatever. This is actually what we wanted here. Text equals this guy. And then text.text equals that. And then text.alignment equals anchor. That's what we wanted. And that's why we double check. And we do not want this guy. Okay. One more double check, triple check. So it's actually 20 minutes to lunch here. Meow. Hey, baby. That looks good. That's what I was shooting for. You can close that and it will save. Should probably change that a little bit, but not a big deal. Turn our test off, close that down, and we can get back to this now. Yeah, so let's open the game up and see if our settings window is working as we would expect. And the last build I made in Path of Exiles, I was a summoner. And I was an aura summoner. So I had like 3 auras going. I think I had 2 golems. Might have had 3 golems. I had all kinds of stuff going on. Was not very strong though. Defensively. I could take stuff down, but if something caught me off guard, I could get one shot. I don't like that about Path of Exile. I would always want to... I like tanky builds, but then it's really slow to level in my experience. But I'm not an experienced PoE player by any means. Survivability, I think they call it. Oh, an error has occurred. Not entirely unexpected. Settings UI 178. Video group, yeah, we're not doing you anymore. Color grading. Rest of that is all fine, I believe. Let's try that once more. Peek at this while that is compiling. Yeah, I've seen these videos. Pretty silly. I think totem builds and summoner builds are about all I can handle in Path of Exile, because it's just such an intense game. $6.23. Toggles. Lightning flashes. Toggle. Lightning flashes. Change lightning. What's there one up here too? Oh, no. You need to be moved down here, sir. Let's do that for all of you. Little dealies that are setting things up. Weather intensity we have down here. Keep you all organized. Color grading, that's for gamma. Rest of you are fine, right? 'Tis a fun game, though. I've certainly made it through the whole game a number of times. And free to play. It's hard to argue with. Yeah, I don't know anything about currency either. I might have a bunch of currency if you want it. I just was picking up anything that my filter told me to. Though I don't know really what's valuable or not. Still getting an error. Key not found 1087 from 676. 676. On scale float change. Starting at 1212. Add float input, add the listener. Six, 7, 6 triggers because of that. On scale float change. Which triggers 1087. Input fields, that's what we're looking for. 1087 though, change setting, oh, yeah. I thought it said dictionary, key not found. 1087. 1087. Sliders. Oh, no, that's not right. Button type. That should be... input fields, right? Slider change. Input fields button text equals value dot to string. So we've already got the value. We just need to work with the value, right? Change setting to be the value plus the offset. Right.あるよ。あ、実物？どっかしまってある。秋葉で使ってたのはどっかにあるけどね。見てないね、それ。俺、返したかな？いらないって言って。それか、倉庫にあるかな？Saw they're doing a Diablo rebuild too. Diablo 2 remastered. Because Diablo 3 sucked so bad. I know that pisses some people off. It's not a bad game. It's not. Diablo 3 is a good game, but it's just not an upgrade to Diablo 2, which is why it's disappointing. They really simplified a lot of what made Diablo 2 good into things that just really didn't expand on it in any way, shape, or form. It just made a flashy, fun game. 2021, but no actual release date. But anyway, they're doing a, remaster where they just up all the graphics and everything. Release date 2021. That's all they're telling us so far, huh? But if you didn't know, Blizzard absolutely botched Warcraft 3 remastered release. They totally messed that up. It's still Warcraft 3. Metacritic has gone up to 59, but this was literally at overwhelming dislike, like at 0.6. That is out of 10. That's not out of 1. That's out of 10. I mean, I think it's the worst score in the history of video games. And it used to be like a 9 or an 8, and they just totally destroyed it. It's really just silly. Silly. So I'm a little worried that they're going to do something stupid like that with Diablo 2, but okay, this is what I was expecting to trigger. So we've gotten to this point. Basically, I set the get settings for all of these video guys here. And we don't use tessellation, but I did not set up the change settings yet. So we need to add those in too, as the settings UI is now going to be making use of that. So if we're talking about lighting, we're passing in a float here, so it should be good for all of these settings. So let's see, settings, value is equal to 1. If so, we want to go true, otherwise we want to go false, right? Case settings, right, value, otherwise lightning equals true, or lightning equals false. Can I do that? What am I doing wrong here? Break. What's going on here? Value equals 1. No, I'm silly. Lightning equals like this. So if the value that's being passed to us is 1, we want to set it to true. Otherwise we set it to false. And this is being called from the settings UI. For example, float change, game settings, change setting. Who actually called this? 488. No, that was game settings. 1087. That's the one, all right. I guess it just didn't find it. Not sure how. Yeah, these aren't going to be called for our toggles, actually. The toggles are doing their own thing, right? Let's see. Toggle fog, change lightning, there we go. Game settings, okay, it's just setting it directly. So we don't actually care about the bools, but there's no harm in putting that there. VSync, I mean, it's redundant. I don't think anything's using it, but what the heck? Let's go ahead and code this stuff in. True, otherwise it's false, and we want a break. We actually want a break at the end of all of these. So let's toss that in there. Return we're going to be getting rid of, so fear not, Visual Studio. Let's see who all our bools are. Fog is a bool. Well, let's go in order. Resource distance. I'm not sure what that is. I hate to admit. Fog. Let's just turn you off for a minute. You know what? Let's go ahead and turn you guys off because we're not using you. Volumetric clouds is one of those as well. Clouds we do use. Clouds equals value. And it needs to be cast as an int, I believe. Shadow quality equals value. Again as an int. Shadow distance equals value. Shadow resolution equals value. Let's go ahead and copy that. Shadow cascades. Crosshair transparency is not an int, right? HDR is a bool. Gamma is a float. Grass density is a float. Grass distance is a float, I believe. No, it's an int. Weather intensity is an integer. Target frame rate is an integer. UI scale is a float. Anisotropic is a bool. Texture resolution is an integer. No setting found in change settings. Let's go ahead and actually include plus setting so that we know what we're talking about on all of these. No setting found in plus setting. Like so. To stream, that would be nice. Probably doesn't matter. Compile, play once more. Expecting things to be working well, and I will head to lunch. So, again, that was a bunch of code. Didn't really get what I was kind of hoping to show on stream, but got to do things in steps to get them all working before you move forward. Basically, I'm going to be adding anti-aliasing settings and motion blur settings and some things. Still getting an error. So I wanted to upgrade my settings window there to make sure that more accommodating. 676. Float change UI scale. Still getting this, huh? What's going on here? Starts at 1212. Starts at 329. Let's go through the motions here. 329, input fields. After we've added the UI scale, input fields UI scale. That can go up here. UI scale.text equals game settings UI scale.toString. So we're changing it. So in other words, that's going to trigger all of that stuff. I'm going to have to let it recompile since I changed something there. So 329, we trigger the input field delegate, which heads to 212 or 1212, which says, well, we moved it just a little bit here. I only moved it like one line there, didn't I? Let's go ahead and do that once more, just so I can get the line counts correct here. So 328 fires the input field change, which goes to 1211. Settings UI 1211. Input field on value changed. Add listener. This is within the add float input. Settings UI 328. This is not 327. I think, is it getting that wrong? What's going on here? It says 328. Which means that I am altering the text of this guy on scale float change on scale slider change. So that should be calling these guys, which would call these guys, but it's saying that this is causing problems. Hmm. 328. Makes it to 211. 1211. Which I moved down one by adding that title, so it's this guy. No, it's this guy. Text func, that calls 675. That calls 1087, which is now 1088. Sliders, button type, value equals value. We should have a slider called UI scale set up by now. When we do add float input, we get the slider. Have we not added that in there? Input fields add button, but sliders dot add is not in there. Button types, this is the button type, and that's our key, and the actual slider itself is the slider. Okay. That's kind of a weird path that stack trace was going through there, but that does make sense. We weren't properly adding things to our list there. And once this isn't throwing any more bugs, I'm going to head to lunch. or might just head to lunch now in any case, but it should be working better now. No, still something. 353. Crosshair transparency. Oh, well, yeah, I didn't update these guys. I turned them off temporarily. And what do they need now? I'm hungry. I'm starting to get hangry. Title, button type, text function. So yeah, I need to set up the text and yada yada there. Let's go ahead and turn these off for just a moment and look at this one more time. Assuming that, I mean, I know that these are broken, they just need to be upgraded a little bit, and everything else, those should be working fine. So I can go get my chicken sandwich. That's the informal yes in Japanese. Sounds a little silly in English, but it ain't English. Still got a problem. That's weird. I paused. Stop. Shh. Be quiet. I paused. You know when it does that. Key not found 688 from 383. Oh yeah, I'm still calling the same transparency. So I need to upgrade these, and everything should be working fine though, I believe. So I will get on that. I'm gonna head to lunch though. Thanks for everybody that stopped by. Germany, Ohio. Not sure where Vaughn White was saying hello from. Got someone new in Discord as well. Stu, thank you for the text file. I will check that out later. And should be back tomorrow. I've gotten over my the names are leaking out there. Someone, oh, your name is too big there, Art? Your name doesn't fit in the chat box. That's unfortunate. Oh, you're in Kansas? Why did I think Ohio? Didn't you gave me like Corona, Ohio numbers once or something. I just assumed that's where you were. My apologies. I got some fixing to do on some of this streamer window stuff too, huh? I should scale my screen down too so you can see my whole screen. Because you can't see the whole right side. There's lots in Unity to be looking at over here that you can't see at all. I'll think about that in a bit, but yeah. You two have a good one. I'm off to lunch. I will be back.